Let's see how many dinners we can make for a family of 4 with $40. Okay, so here's what we got from the store. Our total was $40.63. It could have been less because of some things I had to substitute, and I'll talk to you about it as I get there. So let's start with the produce. I've got 2 onions, 1 Honeycrisp apple, 1 green pepper, 1 russet potato, and 1 sweet potato. So these are going to go in some recipes. I have a bag of frozen mixed vegetables. Have a bag of these waffle cut fries. I had to get these tater tots. If they had the Great Value brand, it would have been half the price. So my budget could have been even lower if I found the Great Value tater tots. They didn't have them. So you could have taken $2 off my total just if you can find the Great Value tater tots. So that could bring your budget down. I got cheddar jack, shredded cheese. These hot dogs are on sale right now at Walmart for $1, so that's a good deal. I got a pound of ground beef. I got these chicken breasts. I'm going to use those over a couple of meals. I did get this chicken fry mix, the New Orleans style hot and spicy. That was a splurge in this budget. Your budget could have been less if you made your own coating, breading for your chicken. But my daughters really love this. And so we're going to try to do something like a Popeyes chicken thing. So I got this. But again, you could cut your budget if you decided to make your own. I got 2 cans of baked beans. I got a can of these mushrooms. Now for the recipe that I'm using this for, you could leave the mushrooms out. Some people don't like mushrooms. That would save you $1 and some change. I got these diced tomatoes, a big can of tomato juice, a packet of brown gravy mix. I got this French loaf, normally $1.47. Found it on the clearance rack, so win for me. Here was the other thing I had to substitute, was these buns. The buns I wanted to get were the Great Value brand. They had no hamburger buns in the Great Value brand. So this was almost $3 more than what I would have paid if I could have found the Great Value brand. So with the different things I couldn't find, if you could get the Great Value buns, if you could get the Great Value tater tots, you could leave off the mushrooms. If you made your own chicken fry mix, this could have easily been, for sure, $35. Most likely you could have got it down to closer to $30 without those items. So this is what we're going to use this week to make dinners for my family of 4. The first budget meal we're going to be making is a fall chicken and potato sheet pan meal. I'm going to try to stretch this pack of chicken across 2 meals. So I'm going to kind of get in there and see how many pieces I have. I have washed my potatoes and my apple. I have a sweet potato, a russet potato, and 1 Honeycrisp apple. So I'm going to start chopping and peeling my potatoes, chopping my apple, getting the chicken sorted, and then we'll put this sheet pan meal together. Now that I have my chicken separated, I have some put in a bag for another meal. I'm going to just be cutting my chicken, getting it on the sheet pan, and reserving 4 pieces of chicken for another recipe. I'll put that in the freezer. I'm going to season this sheet pan meal with salt and pepper. I baked this for 40 minutes at 350 degrees, stirring about halfway. And I also added a few pats of butter just to add some fat to the sheet pan meal. I forgot to put that in the film, but this is what it looks like out of the oven. And here is one of our plates. This was very delicious, very flavorful, very fall-like. You should definitely try this sheet pan meal. Tonight's meal, we are going to be taking this pound of ground beef, green pepper, onion. We're going to use the tater tots and the cheese. We're going to be making a Philly cheesesteak tater tot casserole. So let's get our beef into the pan. We're going to brown this up, and then we're going to get to chopping. Once my meat has browned up, I have drained that. I'm now adding in the onion and green pepper that I chopped. I gave that a good stir and let that start to saute the veggies a little bit, and then we're going to add in the seasonings. So for the seasonings, I'm loosely following a recipe, but doctoring it up with my own seasoning. So of course I'm going to be using some salt and pepper. I just did a good pinch of each. Then I'm going to be adding in some Worcestershire sauce. I did not measure, I just eyeballed it. I love to add Worcestershire sauce anytime that I'm cooking anything beef. And then I'm going to give that a stir. I'm going to add in some more of this stone ground mustard. Y'all, if you've watched my videos, you know I've been working on this bottle. But I'm trying to use this up, and I love that little zing of flavor that this gives to a dish. I'm also going to be adding in this can of mushrooms that I've drained. You do not have to add this. This would cut back on the cost. This is what it looks like once it has been mixed up in the pan. I'm now going to be adding in a packet of brown gravy mix. And I'm going to be following the gravy mix instructions and adding in 1 cup of water. I'm going to give this a stir and let this saute for just a few minutes. This is a 9x13. I'm going to spray it. Some non-stick spray. Then I'm going to bring my mixture over and get in the dish. Just look how yummy. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. So I'm going to get this meat and pepper and onion and mushroom mixture in the casserole dish. Right around, that sauce will thicken up because it has that gravy mix. It will thicken as it cooks in the oven. I have the oven preheating to 350 degrees. Now we're going to assemble the topping for the casserole. I'm going to take some of that cheese, put a layer of that on. Then we're going to add on our tater tots. I'm just going to dump them on, and then I'll start making them all pretty. I've got my tater tots on top, and I still have about a half, 2/3. I still have about 1/3 of the bag left. So there we go. We've got something for someone for a lunch one day. Now I'm going to cover with the rest of my cheese. I'm going to stick this in a 350 degree oven for about 30 minutes. Actually, as I got to thinking about it, these tater tots say 450. So I think I'm going to go in the middle then and do 400 for about 30 minutes. Since that's what the tater tots said, about 450 for 20 minutes. So I'm going to go 400 for 30 minutes. Here is the Philly cheesesteak tater tot casserole out of the oven. It is bubbly. It is gorgeous. Y'all, oh my stars, this smells so good. Oh my goodness. We're going to let this sit and cool and let that gravy kind of sit up. And then we're going to make a plate. And I can't wait to eat this. It smells so good. And here is that tater tot casserole. I'm so excited for this. It smells so good. Oh my goodness, guys. You have definitely got to try this. Tonight's meal, we're going to take half of this onion, the maple baked beans, and these hot dogs. We're going to use this to make homemade Beanie Weenies. So I'm going to start by chopping up the hot dogs and onion and getting that in the pan. Now this isn't a fancy meal, but I'm hoping I'm going to jazz it up a little bit. So I've got half of that onion. I'm reserving the other half for another recipe. And then I'm going to now slice up my hot dogs. I actually only sliced up about 6 of those hot dogs because I was thinking with the 2 hot dogs that are left and the tater tots that I had left from the last meal, that would be 2 lunches right there. 2 hot dogs with some tater tots. So that's going to give me 2 extra meals. So let's drop this in our pan. I have a pan preheating on the stove. Let's drop this in and get to making our Beanie Weenies. Here are my onions. I put a little bit of oil in the bottom of the pan. I'm going to saute the onions for just about a minute, and then I'm going to put in the hot dogs. Now I have put my hot dogs in here. I'm going to give this a stir and let this saute for about, I don't know, few minutes, just until I start getting some brown, crusty edges there on the hot dogs. Next, we're going to be adding in our cans of baked beans. Now we're going to give it a stir. Now this is completely optional. We're going back in with this stone ground mustard just to give it a little zing. And then I'm going to add a pinch of brown sugar. A little more than a pinch. That looks good. We're going to give this a stir and let it come to a simmer. So here are my homemade Beanie Weenies. They taste good. I mean, they taste like Beanie Weenies. The extra mustard and brown sugar added a great flavor to this. I think cornbread would be really good with this, but this is a delicious meal. Definitely a budget meal. This is good. You should try it. The next meal we're going to be making is some hot chicken sandwiches. I'm going to be using this chicken fry mix. This is the hot and spicy. You could make up your own. I did this as a convenience. But you could definitely, if you have flour on hand and some spices, you could make up your own fry mix. So we're going to have this with some waffle fries. So let me get my batter out, get this going. I do already have some oil heating up on the stove. First thing this package says to do is to put about 1/3 of a cup of the seasoning, the fry mix, in a bowl, and then I'm going to add in 1/2 cup of water. I'm going to give that a stir. I may not use all of this. I'm just going to start with like that. And now I'm going to take my chicken. Got me a little station here. Dip the chicken in the batter. And dip it in your fry mix. This is a messy job. Coat it really good. I'm gonna lay it over here. Here's the chicken all coated. And I still have like 1/2 of that chicken fry mix that I'm going to reserve for another meal. I dropped that chicken in my hot oil. I'm only going to do 2 at a time so I don't crowd my pan. I'm going to cook this for a few minutes on each side, and I'm going to make sure the internal temperature comes up to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Here's the chicken out of the pan. This first batch got a little darker than I wanted around the edges. I think my oil was too hot. So I cut it down, and this was the last 2 pieces. I've got my buns buttered and ready to toast in the oven, and the waffle fries are in the air fryer. I still have 1/2 of that fry mix that I put back in the cabinet for another meal. I have 4 buns left, so I'm gonna put those in the freezer. So I'm gonna have quite a bit of leftovers from this grocery haul. So that's a win. Here is the chicken sandwich with the waffle fries. Look at that, folks. I toasted the buns. That looks so delicious. You can top this however you want, with whatever toppings, but this is going to definitely be a hit. I can tell. I'm going to get to tasting this sandwich. This chicken sandwich is so good. This fry mix is amazing. My favorite meal of the week by far. Tonight's meal, we're going to be throwing together a super easy dump and go crock pot meal of vegetable soup. Now, I'm not going to be adding in any meat. You could add in some beef if you wanted. I'm going to be using this tomato juice, mixed vegetables, the tomatoes. I'm also going to use the rest of that onion. We're just going to dump this in the crock pot and let this cook for about 4 hours. There's that other 1/2 of that onion. I'm going to pour in my frozen mixed veggies. A can of diced tomatoes with onion, celery, and green bell pepper. It's going to go in. And then we're going to pour in this can of tomato juice. For seasonings, I'm going to add in some salt, pepper. Add as much as you like. I'm going to add in some garlic powder. Give this a stir. Once this kind of comes together and is heated up, I will taste to see the salt level. I will also taste for the acidity. If I need to knock the acidity of the tomato back, I might add in a pinch of sugar. All right. I'm going to cook this on high for 4 hours. Here is our vegetable soup. We are serving this up with some of that French bread, and we still have a lot left. So I feel like this has been a win this week. This is so delicious. We've had this soup several times. It is delicious, easy, budget friendly, super great on a rainy day like today. So that's it. These were the 5 meals that I made my family this week with a budget of about $40. I even had leftovers. I had things that could be used in lunches or future recipes. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me a comment down below. And until next time, bye.